Hi, I'm Randi Dukes. I'm a realtor in the North Texas DFW area, and I'm here today with Val and Zach to talk about what a first-time home buyer needs to know. So you have a beautiful home in Dallas, and we just wanted to talk a little bit about the process of home buying when you're coming into it for the very first time. So how did you decide that it was time to buy a house?
So we had been saving up for a down payment for like a year and a half, maybe more. So we had a goal of an amount of money that we wanted to save up, and when we got there, that's basically when we started moving forward. So we wanted to buy a house, and so we began the process of saving for a down payment, and that was
I feel like we generally were tired of just paying rent.
That too.
We wanted to have some equity.
Yeah. And we're in like a high-rise, condo situation, so we wanted a house, yard, all that kind of stuff. But needed the down payment first.
And so was your goal to earn or to save 20% of the down payment?
So it was 10%.
It was 10.
So
okay.
we were doing 10%, mainly because
it's a lot of money.
Yeah, it was a lot of money, and we were planning to we were looking at the monthly payments and being so with my income I could afford the monthly payments even without the 20%, and we thought that investment wise and long term wise the house for like 10% made more sense.
Perfect.
We're planning to throw extra money and bonuses at the principal and stuff like that. But yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Did you have any concerns going into the process before you knew a lot about it?
I think one of our biggest concerns was just not knowing what we could afford. I mean, I think we knew what we wanted, and then we realized how much that was going to cost.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Then I think that actually kind of forced us more towards the 10% too, because we thought, okay, we want a house, we know that, we want this type of house in this area, and so we're only going to be able to do so much.
Yeah. And along those lines, did you feel like you really knew how much house you could afford?
So generally, we did. So I had a couple friends who had bought in a house, and they gave me a spreadsheet, that they had put together about, what the monthly payment would be, you and your spouse's income and all that kind of stuff.
Your monthly budget even.
It turned out to be not perfect spreadsheets, which ended up being like kind of a wrinkle in it. But I mean, we generally knew. There was some stuff we were like, oh, we didn't factor that into it, but it was nothing like monumental. But it was, we generally knew, I think is the answer.
Yeah, we did our research.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
So before you got into the process, did you look at credit reports and see if there were any errors there?
No.
So that is something that we did not do.
Honestly, I didn't even realize that that was a thing, that it could be incorrect. So
right.
So yeah, I mean, I wish we would have.
Well, yeah, and I think we both just assumed that our credit was good. And this may answer one of the other questions, but she totaled her car right before, and so we had to get a new car, and we didn't realize how much that was going to make our credit go down. So we basically just were starting to apply for a home, and they're like, oh, your credit score, mine specifically, because I didn't have a long credit history, and so that really made mine go down a lot, and it was under 700. But and so that was less than ideal when buying a home.
Yeah.
So no, we did not do the due diligence on that.
So I think you're alluding to two things that a lot of people don't know, and first-time home buyers especially. So first of all, you can pull a credit report, and really everybody should be pulling a credit report at least once a year just to see, because there are a lot of mistakes on there, especially with identity theft and different things, but even just with little common errors. There are often things that are on your credit report that shouldn't be, and it's really easy to get those fixed up. But then also purchases. A lot of people don't have any idea that once you go into the loan process, you don't want to make any big purchases against credit because it affects that final credit report that's pulled. So yeah, that can have an impact.
Yeah.
Were there any big financial things that you just weren't expecting in the process?
I think the biggest thing was the tax.
The taxes.
Yeah.
So that was the spreadsheet that my friends gave me didn't factor in the taxes to the extent that that's realistic. So that was the amount of the monthly tax payment was not something that I had factored in nearly enough. And so the total monthly payment, even though, the mortgage payment and then there's the escrow for taxes, but that's not something I'd factor into like a monthly expense.
Right.
And so that was
shocking, especially
surprising.
in Dallas County.
And it's a simple thing, but it was just like I just didn't even think about that. When you're renting before, that wasn't a thing. It was like, and so that was the biggest thing that was like the rookie, move where we didn't,
And
factor
you see
that.
this like fabulous number on Zillow. It's like you can
Right.
afford
Yeah.
this much house.
Yes.
And
You're
it doesn't
like,
include the
fabulous.
tax payment part of it.
That's
and
right.
stuff, so-
Or the fact that you'll be absolutely broke
Yes.
if you're making that payment.
Yeah.
It
Exactly.
takes out vacations and all of those
Yes.
things,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yes, yes.
Did you shop around for a mortgage, or did you just pick a lender and go with them?
So our realtor recommended a mortgage lender, but we did start to look around. We had some mortgage lenders competing against each other in a certain sense at the end
Yeah.
to try to get our rate down because of the credit score issue. And so we were like, oh wow, this was like higher than we thought it was going to be.
And one of the things I think made us go with that lender was that they had certain discounts for his occupation or whatever. I don't even remember all the different options there were.
There was
but
a
like,
special lawyer lending program, and they had that for I think accountants
yeah.
and like doctors or med students as well. And so there was some stuff that the other lenders didn't have.
Or they
we
didn't
at least-
advertise at least.
Yeah. But yeah, we looked around a bit. I think
Yeah.
you could probably do.
We could-
And sometimes there are credits for being a first-time home buyer, and it's
Right.
always important to talk with your
Yeah.
lender and see what's out there, because
Right.
they're able, especially a broker, they're able to do a lot in that realm to try to drop your interest rates and do different things. So I think there are so many factors that most of us have no idea about on that side of things.
Well, and one other thing too is remember the our rate, like how it. We were talking to one of our friends about how if you don't make sure it is
Yeah, say
Locked in.
locked
yes.
in,
Yeah.
then you could be in trouble. It can fluctuate a week later or whatever, and so
Yeah, so
we
that's
didn't
something that
realize
we
that
didn't
either.
know, and I'm not even sure it came up, or affected a rate, but I didn't even know that, and so that's not something we considered.
Yeah.
And so now that you're homeowners, have there been any surprises about the cost of home ownership?
Yeah, I mean, there could have been more, honestly, but we luckily the one who sold us this house, she did a 1 year of the home warranty, which helped us out a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of those, I feel like that happens with everyone, that your AC will go out as soon as you buy a new house or something.
Yeah.
We haven't had crazy ones, but one thing that's random that I just thought of was we have lots of big trees, and tree maintenance
Yeah,
is
Right.
yeah, trimming
so
trees
expensive.
is really expensive.
like thousands of
and
dollars.
little things
to
like
maintain.
in pest control stuff and
Yeah.
stuff when you're living in an apartment you don't have to worry about. I think definitely added up.
Yeah.
And you brought up a good point about the home warranty. So that is something that can always be negotiated in your contract, but I think it's another thing that most people who are buying their first home have no idea.
Yeah.
So your agent can always work that in, and often the
Really?
seller will buy that home warranty up to a certain cost, and so definitely something to look at.
Yeah, that's been really helpful.
Yeah, it saved us about $800 on our microwave.
Oh,
Yeah, which-
Just
that's
went out.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely get that.
Yeah.
So I didn't help you buy this house because I didn't have my license at the time you bought, but are
You
there
wish.
things that, I wish too, are there things that stood out about your agent that you would recommend, this is something that would be great to look for in an agent? What were the valuable things for you?
I think just experience in general, with how she knew, basically how you are with all of your knowledge, that we don't know any of this stuff.
I was about to say specifically for a first home buyer, it's not so much I found this cool house, come look at it, because that is helpful, but it was here's how this works.
Right.
So for us it was very helpful for just being able to walk through and explain each of the different, things that we had to do and why we had to do it and what it all meant. So as a
There's
first,
so much to know.
as a first home buyer, that was I think the most important thing that she brought to the table.
We
And
didn't
I
even
thought
know
she
we could check our credit score until today, so
Yeah.
there we go.
Well, that's a great
Yeah.
point, because anybody can find a house on Zillow,
Yes.
Realtor.com,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But you choose an agent because of the information that they're
Yes.
bringing and coaching you through the whole
Yes.
process. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
that's great. Well, I think it's super helpful just hearing from a first-time home buyer couple what to look for beforehand. So thanks for chatting with us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of
Happy to do
course.
it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.